Welcome to the College Investor Audio Show, where we talk about the biggest issues impacting millennial money, from student loan debt to side hustles to building wealth. We will show you how to get out of debt so that you can build real wealth for the future.
Welcome to the show today. So glad you're here. So we know that college has kind of become a bit of a default option for high school graduates. At least in the United States it is. But that wasn't always the case. Decades ago, it was really much more common for high school graduates to explore all other types of options, like the military, community college, vocational schools, or just go right into the workforce. Today, we take a look at the 5 biggest risks of colleges, some things you don't really think about all that much. So nowadays, it seems that anything other than attending a 4-year university is even rarely considered. But college might not be the best option for everyone, and it's important to fully understand some of the risks that come with going to college. So we're partnering with our friends at GradGuard to highlight some of the biggest risks of going to college and also how you can insure against them to protect your college investment. GradGuard's tuition insurance provides up to 100% reimbursement. 100% reimbursement for the cost of tuition, housing, and academic fees due to a covered medical withdrawal. You can learn all about GradGuard at thecollegeinvestor.com, and we'll talk about them a little bit later as well. So how risky is college anyway? Everything in life comes with at least some level of risk. Going to college is really no exception to this. Whether you would consider going to college risky depends on your own level of risk tolerance. But still, it's important to understand the different levels of risks at college so you can make your own informed decision. So let's dive right into the 5 biggest risks of college. A little bit of a more in-depth look at some of the biggest risks of going to college include these things. Number 1, not graduating. This is one of the biggest possible risks of college, is just not graduating at all. You might spend years of your life and tens of thousands of dollars or more pursuing a degree that you don't even end up completing. This is one of the biggest struggles for those with student loans, as it can be hard to repay what you already borrowed if you didn't graduate. Number 2, not getting a job. This might even be worse than the risk of not graduating, the risk of actually graduating with that degree in your hand and then finding it difficult or even impossible to get a job in your chosen field. One way to help mitigate this risk, though, is by carefully choosing your degree, of course, because some degrees are just more valuable than others in terms of the likelihood of finding a job. Still, even with the most marketable degree possible, there is some level of risk. Student loans. There are many ways to pay for college, and we can help you out at thecollegeinvestor.com. And student loans are just a part of many students' payment plans. Even if you graduate and do get a job, you'll still need to pay those loans back. Depending on your loan type and balance, your student loan balance could cause you financial problems and put you or your financial future under a degree of risk. Number 4, mental health or other health risks. Attending college can be very stressful, especially if you're living away from home for the first time, or if you already have pre-existing mental health conditions. Stress can cause existing mental health challenges to intensify or even cause new challenges. And number 5, dorm room risk. If you're living on campus in the student dorms, you may have a higher degree of risk than you might be used to. You have higher than average risks of theft, water damage, or even fire. A good renter's insurance policy can help mitigate against some of these risks, with a policy that includes liability and personal property protection, but many students don't have any sort of applicable policy. They're relatively cheap too, so you probably can afford one. Now let's talk about insuring against these risks. A lot of people don't realize that there are ways to insure against some of these risks, and it's very cost-effective too. GradGuard is a specialized insurance offering that provides both tuition insurance and college renter's insurance. Very cool. So let's talk about tuition insurance real quick. This can protect your investment if you have to leave school due to a serious covered medical condition. GradGuard markets up to 100% reimbursement for tuition, room and board, and economic fees when you're forced to withdraw due to serious medical conditions, chronic conditions, or even psychological reasons. Given that the statistic of 1 in 4 students who start college don't return for a second year, man, this can be really helpful. If you're in a dorm room or even living off campus, you may also need college renter's insurance. So think about all the stuff you're taking with you to college, like your laptop, bike, all your clothes, shoes. So when the unexpected happens, like a fire, flood, or theft, a renter's insurance policy, like one from GradGuard, can cover the cost to replace stolen or damaged student property. Should you still go to college, despite all the risks we've talked about today? So, yeah, you've learned about some of the biggest risks of college, but does that mean you should just abandon your dreams of a university degree? No, probably not, because as we mentioned earlier, there's a certain level of risk with every single thing in life. And if you try to lead a truly risk-free life, you'll end up missing out on a lot of things. Is there a higher risk of a fire in a college dorm than in a residential house? Maybe. But that still doesn't make it likely. If you still want to attend college but are concerned about some of the risks, you might consider buying insurance to mitigate your risks. And the company that, like GradGuard, provides renter's insurance and tuition insurance. These types of insurance policies can be great options to cover you against low-likelihood events that would have an outsized impact if they actually happened. So the bottom line, everything in life carries some sort of risk, and going to college is no exception. Being at college, especially if you're living on campus or away from home for the first time, comes with possibly increased risk of theft or property damage or mental health challenges. You can also be exposed to the risk of not graduating or not finding a job in your chosen field, meaning that you might be out tens of thousands of bucks or more. Not to mention a whole lot of wasted time. But still, there are some positive things that come from going to college, obviously, and you'll have to decide for yourself how the risks and rewards balance out. A lot of it will depend on your own risk tolerance, along with your financial, personal, and family situation. Certain types of insurance policies, like renter's insurance or tuition insurance, can help mitigate the risks of going to college. Check with your insurance agent or your broker to see if a policy can make sense for you. You can also check out our friends at GradGuard and get a quote right now at thecollegeinvestor.com. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and we'll talk to you again real soon.